What is up, squad? It is Ava Boban Beba back again with another hit video, and today I'm coming through with a tutorial, a little bit of a how-to. This is going to be a throwback, a nostalgia, remember the times way back when, because I'm talking about Rainbow Loom, yes! These little bands that we all used to play with and make crafts with and enjoy. Wow, yes. Look at how beautiful. I feel like nowadays, obviously because we're older, we're like teenagers / adults, the only time I see people using tiny little rubber bands is to do tiny cute little hairstyles. Maybe you do a little pigtail. Take one of these, do a little pigtail. Wouldn't it be so fun to be creative and to explore and to enjoy these Rainbow Loom bands like I used to back in the day? So I'm kind of giving a tutorial on all the different things that you can do with Rainbow Loom because I myself personally am extremely experienced with these. I'm so sorry to speak so cockily, but truly, I have done so much with these bands over my years. I made friendship bracelets, I made little designs, I've done all the things. Who isn't always watching a video, listening to a podcast, having something else going on in the world, and they're like, okay, so I'm gonna play a game on my phone while I watch my video. I'm gonna scroll on Pinterest while I watch my video. This is something to get you off of that two-screen mentality and get your hands working and then also be like, oh wow, I made a thing in the end here. You're gonna start off with 2 fingers. I've seen some people use pencils taped together. I feel like fingers always work better. They're right there. It's easy. You're going to want to start off with one band, just one singular band, and you're going to wrap it around one finger and then twist the band and then put it on the other one. Wrap it on one finger, twist the band, and then put that on your other finger so then you have a little cross section right there. That's the only time you're going to do that, just in the beginning. And then you're going to take another band without twisting it, just put it on each of your fingers like that. And then you're going to take this bottom band on one side, bring it up, and then on the other side, bring it up again. And then you're going to take another band, do the same thing we did with this blue sparkly rubber band, go 1, 2. This is why I consider this the absolute most simple thing that you can create with Rainbow Loom, is because it is literally just place a band on your fingers, pull up, and pull up. Now, I will say I am quite speedy with the Rainbow Loom, and to make this go a lot faster, what I do, if you're like, I've got that down, I've practiced that, I'm ready to be advanced, you're going to want to take your single band, put it on there, and instead pull it up from the back. So you're going to want to be grabbing the back of this last band you were just using, and pull it up and over, and that's gonna like 3 times speed your Rainbow Loom practice. So this is some of the process sped up, just to show you kind of how fast it took me to do this entire pile. Like, I'm running through this if you use that little band pulling method. And then here, I slow it back down to show you, like, it's not moving like 10 times speed now, but I'm still moving pretty fast. Like, this rope's getting done. Okay, I'm bored. Let's speed it back up. Now that you've been looming, obviously the crucial part, you've come to the end, you go, how do I end this loom? You're going to take 2 strings on the side of your hand while you've already looped the last band over, and you are going to take one side, put it on the other, and then take the bottom band of those 2, and loop it over the one you just brought over. And then boom, it's done, it's finished. So this is how much I got done. This only took me about 3 minutes, and I don't know if you can tell, it's pretty long. It's like a decent necklace. But this is just random colors. You could also do it and make an intentional pattern, and then it could be a friendship bracelet or whatever, very cute. Myself, I don't like to make friendship bracelets out of this particular loom, because you can tell it's pretty messy, it doesn't really look cute, it took really quickly, it's like, it didn't take very long, it's not that personal. Like, this for me is more of a, like, just make a big long band kind of loom, but that's one thing you could do. But what I would use to make a friendship bracelet would be a fishtail loom. Now, a fishtail loom is is relatively similar to this loom. Like, it's generally the same basic, except you're going to be using 2 bands or 3 bands at once instead of just kind of 1 or 2 at a time. For the fishtail, we're going to be using the exact same fundamentals as the regular loom. So we're going to start off the exact same way. We're going to loop 1 finger, twist, and then pull it onto the other finger so we get a nice little cross like that. And then we're going to just regular loop another band on top of that. But the only difference is that then we are going to take 1 more band and place it on top of that. So then we're going to take just the bottommost and bring it over both of those 2 bands right there. Grab another band and then repeat that step. Grab the bottom, put it over the 2, and push it down. And then you're going to see right now, you're like, oh, hey, we have kind of like a big ball in there. You're going to find your bottom loom and stretch it out as you go. And then you're going to start to see this really, really pretty pattern appear. You can start to see that form, and you can see that that's a lot more concentric and a lot prettier than what we have going on here, which, like, no matter angle that you look at it from is kind of fuggo. Your fishtail done and you're ready to finish. You should have 2 bands left on your finger. It's pretty similar. It's basically the exact same thing as the classic loom, but you are going to take this bottom band, loop it over, finish it off, just like that, and then take one side, either side of the band, bring it onto the same finger, and then take the bottom of those 2 bands and make a little loop out of it. And now you have a really, really, really pretty fishtail. See, this is why I much prefer the fishtail for friendship bracelets. Like, this feels like something that actually is like, oh wow, you spent time on it, it looks good, I would actually like want to wear that. But also for time comparison, this did take me like 10 minutes compared to this, which took me about 3 minutes. So that's also something to consider on how you are creating bands. Do you want to do it as a pastime, as a nonchalant, like, yeah, I do this on the side, I just loom. I loom to keep my mind active. Or you like, wow, I like making these nice gifts and I want to have fun with these. You could also, I remember like when this craze was really big, they would have packs of these where they like come with charms and stuff. So like you could always take, let me show. This might not necessarily be the style that you're looking for, but like I do very much find this adorable. Like this is very much like a niche of mine. Anyway, very cute, whatever. So now you'll learn the basics of looming, of bracelet making, classic things you can do on your fingers with no equipment. Like you don't necessarily need equipment at all to make these. But if you're like, I'm a serious loomer, I seriously want to craft, we're getting into part 3 of things you can create, which is little tiny sculptures, little tiny charms, little tiny minifigs. You are going to need a looming board, which you can see this is mine, I've had for many, many years. And then you're also going to want a hook. I've tried doing board looming without a hook. It does not work. You're gonna need a hook. It's really easy, and once you learn the basics of it, you can actually do whatever you want with it. Like, there are 0 limits to what it is that you can make. I'm gonna make a strawberry, and you can make the strawberry along with me, but right now I'm trying to show that you can make any shape that you really want with this. Like, it doesn't super matter as much what I do. Like, it's your loom, you loom how you loom. But yeah, let me show. First, you're gonna want to start off with your starting band. You see I have arrows which show that we are going to be looming in this direction. So you're going to start on this peg. You're going to be looming in doubles after this. So you're going to take 2 bands and place them on the pegs in whatever direction you'd like. I'm also going to put mine on this side because, again, I'm making a strawberry. So this for me is going to be the top of my little leafy greens right there. But keep in mind, the entire time while you're looming, other than your stopping bands and your starting bands, you are going to be placing them in doubles. And then here I wanted to speed it up just to show you how long this is taking. So if you're getting frustrated, it's a frustrating process, it is, but it's rewarding. 2 more bands. And, oops, loop them right there. And then now you see we have kind of the general idea of a strawberry. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and secure all of what we've done here. What we're doing right now is going to prevent your loom from being an oval with lines in the middle and instead being a coherent shape. So you're going to take one single band, not two now, and oops, do a triangular motion like that. Once again, little triangle like that. One more time. A little triangle like that. But on this very, very last one, you're going to pick up this bottom and bring it on to there. And then before we finish up on this, we're going to do our cap band, which is going to be on the very, very last loom there. Basically, I went 1, 2, 3. So I had 3 loops, and I did that on the very last band. Now we're going to get into the actual looming of this contraption, which is where you're going to need your stick. So you're going to want to take on this very, very last peg that we were working on, the absolute most bottom 2 bands, which for me is going to be these middle 2, and you're going to want to stick your hook into there and grab those 2 bottom-most bands, pull them up and above all the others, like so, and then bring them to their connecting peg, right? You see what I did there is I lifted it up from there and pulled it onto there. Now you're going to continue this process row by row. I'm going to take these 2 bands down there, hold the rest down with my finger, pull it over and around this peg, and then place them onto this peg up here. And then you're going to continue that process up to the top. So I'm going to start back at my base and now do it for the other side. And then while you're doing the sides, you're going to ignore those secured bands and leave them where they are. But as you can see, I did the same thing running up, and I'm going to do it on this last side. So now you should have loomed and lapped all of these all the way to the top. And before we can finish this off, I'm going to take 1 band, and I am sticking my hook through all of the bands I have at the top up there. And then I'm going to take this band and put it on my hook. While keeping it held, I'm going to fish it up and through all of those bands and then make a slip knot. Yay! And then we're just going to start at the top and peel all the way down, which is where it gets sad. Actually, it doesn't really matter which way you pull from. I'm going to start down here. This is where it gets satisfying. Yay! Yay, we made a thing. This is always my favorite part because then you're like, wow, look at how easily all my bands come off. And then obviously it's going to shrink down because all those bands were being stretched. But look, a tiny little strawberry. Isn't that so cute? Do you love it? The answer is yes. Yeah. So that's how you make a little charm. This is an example of something else you can make. I made this little fish for my friend. He's very cute. I used pretty much the exact same strategy, except I just used different colors and went on for longer. And then to make the little 3D shirt, I just did panels of what I showed and then tied them together. Well, it's the next day because I did exhaust myself. If you couldn't tell, my energy went down and down and down and down. But that's kind of what I'm talking about. It's like a very solemn craft for me. It's like I do this alone in my free time. But I hope that you guys all really enjoyed it, that you learned a thing or two, or at the very least that you got some nostalgia from seeing somebody make some looms, because that's really what matters, just that you smiled at all. And hopefully also that you learned something, or that you were like, oh wait, let me go grab my massive bag of rainbow loom and I'm gonna make a giant rope to stretch across the road. Okay, bye.